So BBS is a Finnish biotech company. We make a product that's quite unique. It's in the bone graft substitute market space. It's based on pioneering research on bone healing by the company's founder, Professor Pekka Yalavara. The company is headquartered in Oulu, Finland. We have a manufacturing site in Reisjärvi. We have 12 employees. We're planning an early commercial launch of our product, and we're in the planning phase now. So, Professor Yalavara is a professor emeritus of orthopedic and trauma surgery at Oulu University, founder of the company. While at Oulu University, he established the bone transplantation group, which had an objective of finding an alternative to autograft. Autograft is a surgical procedure where the surgeon performs a second surgery on the patient, usually at the hip bone. The problem with this is that it increases risks and complications, and the patients often have up to 40% of these patients have long-lasting pain, significant pain following the second surgery. So the bone transplantation group was set up to examine other animal sources for using bone extracts, and found that the reindeer bone extract had a significantly higher degree of bone regenerating potential than all other animal sources. So that's the start of BBS, and we're ready to take to the market our ArtBone medical product. So, why reindeer? Reindeer have a significant capability of regenerating new bone, about 30% of their body weight every year, both males and females. And there's two required components for effective bone healing. One is osteoinduction. This is just simply to start bone growth, and this requires proteins. This is where the reindeer comes into play. Osteoconduction is the other component that's needed, and this provides a surface for the new bone to grow. The osteoconduction component is provided usually by a mineral like calcium that provides a scaffold and a surface for the new bone to grow on. The reindeer bone protein contains biologically active proteins and growth factors to provide the osteoinductive component. We also include a synthetic beta-tricalcium phosphate, which is a mineral component, to provide the osteoconductive signal. The other function of the reindeer bone proteins is to accelerate the resorption of these TCP granules to advance faster and better bone healing. This is a demonstration of how the ArtBone product works in a large animal model. This is a sheep, and I won't go through the histology on the left, but just simply summarize the results. Within 3 weeks, more new bone was grown. Within 8 weeks, a good quality bone, increasing resorption of the TCP granules, and by 16 weeks, there was complete bone formation in this model. This was the last animal model that was needed before the company could then proceed to human clinical studies. Here's an example of one of the patients in this study. 34 patients were enrolled in an ankle fusion study. This is actually the first in human implantation of reindeer bones protein extract, and the ankle on the left is before surgery, and you can see with the dotted line on the right-hand side here, a complete fusion of this ankle space. This was the last and only needed clinical study to present to the notified body in the path towards CE marking. So our first product is ArtBone, including the reindeer bone protein extract and the TCP granules with glycerol and other excipients to form a flowable paste in a custom designed syringe. This is ease of use, one step, no mixing required for the surgeon, and this particular formulation is ideally well suited for foot and ankle, wrist and hand, small joint spaces, but it can also be used in other areas of the body as well. We'll expand our product portfolio by coating TCP granules with the reindeer protein extract, as shown on the bottom, ArtBone granules and larger ArtBone blocks. What this will do is expand the orthopedic application of this product for wider uses and to gain a wider market. So this is the market position of the ArtBone family products in the bone graft substitute market. The autograft still comprises about a third of the clinical procedures done, still considered the gold standard. The bottom segment there, the demineralized bone matrix and allografts, are all derived from human donor bone. Significant problem with this segment is that the FDA requires that each lot of product be specific to each human donor. So these products vary widely in quality and consistency. The synthetics group are the mineral components like the TCP that we use. And the other section there is the recombinant growth factors. This component is a drug type product and is very potent, but also comes with serious complications and side effects. The chart on the right here shows that the BBS ArtBone product is in the sweet spot with respect to autograft in terms of its osteoinductive and osteoconductive capability. So the current bone grafts substitutes market in the 10 major markets is worth more than $2.9 billion, is expected to grow at a rate of a steady rate of 4.3%. We've mapped the surgical procedures done in the United States, about 1 million, and in the EU5, 440,000, and the sales revenue attached to these procedures in both the US and EU. The worldwide market opportunity for the ArtBone product family, based on selling a dose of around $1,100 per dose, retains a profit margin between say 80 or 90%, and gives us an opportunity to look at reaching a potential large market. On the right-hand side is the 10 major market players in the orthobiologics product market. These companies account for about 64% of the market revenue in the orthobiologics product space, and are also looking at small companies for innovation. So ArtBone is expected to compete effectively across all market segments for the following reasons. Safer than the recombinant growth factors. Also are safer with respect to the machine banked and DBM allograft products. Makes up for the significant weaknesses with these products, since they're derived from human donors and are weakly performing. The synthetics are is a group that our TCP comes from, and these products are also have safety issues. Go on. The patent portfolio is broad and strong, and we have granted patents across the United States, Europe, and Asia. We have a manufacturing facility in Reykjavik where BBS has received a certificate of GMP compliance from the Finnish medicine agencies for manufacturing of this biological protein extract. Where the company is prepared to get ISO 13485 certification for the manufacturing of ArtBone medical device. Our current production capacity is 25,000 doses of ArtBone per year, and our maximum capacity can reach 500,000 doses based on the number of reindeer that are slaughtered in Finland every year. ArtBones are ready-to-use paste is a final product assembly, and we control the assembly process in-house. So I'll summarize just briefly the different stages that the product has gone through. This is typical for a biopharmaceutical development pathway where significant safety and toxicology studies were done on the reindeer protein extract. Preclinical studies were done in large animals, and human clinical study done in the ankle fusion study. The product certification is ongoing. So our development timeline for ArtBone is shown here. We're looking at a CE marking to be achieved by the middle of next year. We have a pre-submission process in place with the US FDA. Once the CE marking is obtained, we'll be able to begin product launch in Europe, and then with our ArtBone product extension in green, we expect product development to follow pretty much the same pathway. Our sales strategy is to start by introducing the ArtBone in syringe product into the Nordic markets. We'll use sales specialists, a small direct sales team. They'll have the added advantage of being able to introduce this product to surgeons based on the clinical validation already done in the clinical study. From there, we'll also develop distributor partnerships with knowledgeable distributors in selected European countries. We have a strong management team and a board team and scientific advisors with a broad base of technical and business background. So the investment in BBS is based on a strong value proposition associated with the fact that the ArtBone reindeer protein extract provides a significant advantages and opportunities over existing market segments, and the market for the bone graft substitute markets is large and steadily growing. We will look to get the CE marking from Europe, from the notified body within a year, and then advance to marketing the product in the United States. We have a fully built manufacturing plant that can control the product from supply to final assembly, and we're looking forward to welcoming participation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul, for a very interesting presentation. So, reindeer, huh?
Yeah, I should reframe the entire presentation. I'm sorry for that, but reindeer and with the reindeer is actually a unique resource because the animals generate about 30% of their body weight in antler every year and drop it. One of the key discoveries that Professor Yalavara made was the fact that this has kind of nature's bone-making machine. And so the ArtBone products basically have captured the reindeer proteins, which are essential for providing the osteoinductive signal. This is a component that is exclusive to BBS, and the bioprocess technology behind it took 10 years to develop. It's actually a very sophisticated biopharmaceutical process. The reindeer proteins have been certified by the Finnish Medicines Agency as a medicinal substance. So this has a development history and a quality profile behind the product that is unmatched. Most other bone graft substitute products that go to the market don't have clinical validation, and here BBS has a claim for basically having the first in-man studies done, demonstrating the safety and the performance of this reindeer protein.
So that would be the unique selling point.
That's a very strong selling point, and the other point is the fact that the device, this is classified as a medical device class 3 type of a product. It's highly innovative and would be expected to be received with enthusiasm, especially by younger surgeons that are looking for innovative technologies.
And then looking to tap into this $2.9 billion market that it totals, what would be the main challenges to ensure a good market uptake for BBS?
Well, a big challenge there, of course, is introduction of highly innovative products, which could have been better presented to the audience today. I apologize for that. But the challenge, though, is also going to be strongly met and supported by the fact that, unlike most products that come into this market space, they go directly into the market. In BBS's case, it has a strong clinical safety and performance validation already behind the product. So that'll make it easier for the product specialists to get the attention of orthopedic surgeons. Also, Professor Yalovara's network, the clinical directors of the 3 sites that actually evaluated the product in humans, will also be key opinion leaders and help support the product launch and entry.
And the market strategy is to first look at the Nordic countries and the European market?
Right, correct. As a small company with only 12 people, it's quite remarkable development history, and I didn't do a very good service to representing that today. But for such a small team to take a highly sophisticated medical device class 3 product that's actually going to serve as a best-in-class product once the CE marking is obtained is an extraordinary achievement. And so that the value proposition there is that it will have an opportunity to replace the existing market segments that are now being used as bone graft substitutes. And I probably have enough time to make up for the lack of sufficient communication on the slide presentation, but I can make this point quite compellingly now, and that is that no other bone graft substitute product in the market has what the ArtBone product has, because it combines both of these principal components in one integrated medical device. It both provides the opportunity for new bone growth to grow with the TCP chemical component, and the reindeer bone extracts, unlike any of the other products, are biologically active proteins, including growth factors. And so this is the component that provides the osteoinductive signal to start new bone growth. So the value for this particular product is it can actually generate new bone faster, better than existing products. The DBM, demineralized bone matrix products, are just basically kind of a little slightly more processed version of an allograft. An allograft and DBMs, though, both come from human donor sources. The problem with the human donor sources is that, and the FDA requires that each of these products be lot specific to these donors. The problem there is that they vary widely in quality and consistency because of health and age issues. One of the things that the existing products can't do, and that only BBS can do, is basically pool large amounts of reindeer bone and then guarantee to drug level standards the consistency and quality and performance of each large batch of product. So this will actually serve to be, in fact, an early replacement candidate for already billion-dollar market segments of the bone graft substitute market. So we expect we can get by with a small focused sales team because they'll come armed with a value proposition that can't be matched by any other products in the market, especially the DBM and the allograft products. These should fall pretty quickly because they've already been shown to be widely inconsistent in the range of their osteoinductive capabilities and the kinds of bone growth factors that are in these.
So entering a fairly crowded market competitive-wise with an aggressive value proposition like that, that should stir up some commotion in the market.
Well, in the medical technology space and the orthopedic industry space is very well known to protect what they have, but the big players also look to the small players for innovation. And so the BBS ArtBone product fits very, very nicely into a position where, depending on how well it performs once it gets into the clinic, the opportunities are basically for BBS to decide where to go from there in terms of either expanding and becoming an independent, full-fledged sales and marketing entity, or the big players already are looking at BBS because they have an eye on the degree of innovation that's behind this product.
And in terms of strategies, would you say that the company is leaning towards one or the other, as looking at the prospect of being acquired, for example?
Well, I think it depends on the timing and the value of the offer, but usually what happens in these cases is more likely a strategic alliance or a partnership. Large companies like to develop certain types of distribution arrangements with a company and groom a smaller company, and that way the values increase to on both sides, and possible exit by acquisition is common that way.
Mm. I should ask if anyone has a question in the audience.
Yes.
Yes.
You're introducing reindeer protein into the body of human body. Do you see any immunological reactions, any antibodies produced?
Yeah, this was a very important question, and in fact, this was something that was addressed early on in the history of the product development because it's developed as basically as a medical substance. It went through a full set of safety and toxicology studies. It's been in a variety of small animals from mice, rats, rabbits, dogs. Full safety and biomaterials, biocompatibility studies have been done. So with respect to humans, and by the way, along the way there were no indications of an antibody reaction, which is usually shown by increased inflammation. And so the preclinical studies that had been done were enough to qualify through institutional review boards the advancement of this for first-in-human studies. And so those studies were conducted for safety and performance outcomes. And although we're actually in the final stage now of actually summarizing and finalizing a clinical report. And the good news is that there's no evidence in terms of inflammatory markers. And so there's a good reason to believe that there's not going to be any immunological issues associated with this product.
Because if you get antibodies, you might not have any big problems with it, but maybe the antibodies present that will be generated will prohibit activity for any next time treatment.
Absolutely, but then in this case, these types of products as bone graft substitute implants are usually just done once.
Yeah.
And so there's very little risk for a potential immune challenge with subsequent doses. If there was, this was a different type of a drug product, then that would be a consideration. The other thing is fortunately, the immunological reactions are actually stimulated more by bone surface. And so whether in the processing of the reindeer protein extract, there's a long process that's gone through to basically demineralize the bone and then concentrate the bone proteins and the growth factors that are needed for regenerating new bone.